Chair. Thank you for being here. Dr Hilton, CSIRO announced at the start of this year that there would be a restructure earlier with cuts of $100 million to operations. Can you confirm the reason for these cuts for us now, please?
There are a number of different factors that led to us making those changes. They include increasing in operations costs higher than inflation, and we've seen that with ICT and with our property portfolio, but also the ending of the time-limited COVID budget measure.
Thank you. And is it correct that it's around 25% cut to operations, 500 jobs being axed and approximately 200 enterprise services contract term positions at risk?
So we need to make a savings of about 25% in enterprise services. And we have an estimate of the potential affected staff numbers, but we're still consulting. And as you would appreciate, one of the things that we're keen to do is mitigate those potential cuts with other types of operational savings. So it's hard to give you an exact number of potential reductions in staff in enterprise services. If you could hand to Mr Munyard if you have kind of more detailed questions about that.
Yeah, perhaps not exact numbers, but estimates would be useful. Thank you.
So Tom Munyard, Chief Operating Officer. So Dr Hilton's right, it's about a 25% reduction that we're expecting across our enterprise services, and we are targeting where we can operating cost savings. We have announced that we are expecting a reduction of FTE of around 375 to 500 in our enterprise services, and we're working through that. But as I said, we're trying to focus on some operating cost savings there. We have seen significant increases, as Dr Hilton said, in property. We've seen some contracts increase by around, or costs increase by around 25%. In ICT, around 35% in terms of some of our licensing costs, etc. We are looking at opportunities to reduce and merge the number of platforms that we use in order to make sure that it's operating savings we're able to generate instead of labour. Over the past few years, we've been able to harvest some savings in relation to property, including some years ago being able to vacate off our North Ryde lease, which was around $20 million per annum. We've done ACT consolidation within our ACT sites, such as Yarralumla and Crace, and we're in the final stages of being able to vacate Crace in order to maintain some operating savings there as well. But as I said, the operating costs that we're seeing increase were beyond what we expected to see, and are starting to, and we're looking into those to see if there's further savings that we can make in order to reduce those labour savings.
Sorry, in that response, did you provide an estimate of how many enterprise services contract term positions are being?
So we've announced to staff and that we expect the reduction to be around 375 to 500 FTE in our enterprise services. But as Dr Hilton said, we're still in consultation in relation to that.
Thank you. Dr Hilton, in the last Senate estimates, you told me on the 1st of July that CSIRO has known for a long time that the budget measures during COVID would come to an end and that you would need to adjust your spending, and that no additional requests for funding were made to the government. Dr Hilton, can you provide just a brief timeline of when you found out about the conclusion of the safety net funding provided during the COVID-19 pandemic? The conclusion of the safety net funding provided during COVID-19 pandemic.
I would defer to Mr Munyard.
So that measure that you've referred to was $454 million provided in the October 2020 budget, and it was highlighted at that time that it was a terminating budget measure ending in 23-24.
And so, thank you. And Dr Hilton, did you find out when you started your role, essentially, that was the predicament, that there was a funding cliff?
Yeah, I think the team was aware, and I was aware coming in as Chief Executive, that there were changes that needed to be made in order to be able to reshape the organisation at the end of that time-limited budget measure.
And that was around October 2023? Was it when you started?
I started on the 29th of September 2023.
And it would have been soon after that, presumably?
Yep.